Hi guys, and welcome back to this part 2 of our North African campaign project build, focusing at the moment on the German vehicles. And if you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave a link at the end of the video, and I'll also be on the cards up above here if you want to go back and watch that one first, then come back to this one. And then you'll sort of see where we're up to while I'm talking about the formation as we've got at the moment. We have been following a YouTube channel, I think it's JCIS. He was painting up a 28mm Wargames Panzer III for his bolt action armies. And we thought, can we replicate that with our 15mm? And I have to say, we've like I said in the first video, we will try to get it 95%, and I think it was around 90%, because obviously with your 28mm, you can put that little bit of extra detail with that into your models and that, compared to what you can with your 15s. Our chosen set of rules, as I said, this is done mainly for playing O group, which we really are enjoying that. We know Dave Brown's got a Normandy supplement coming out imminently at the time of recording this video, if it's not already out at the time you're watching it, you know. Go and check out Two Fat Laddies website just to keep an eye on what's going on there. But for us, as I say, O Group really does reflect that sort of battalion level type of actions and that you sort of read about in the books, and it reflects it very well. I mean, playing it in 15mm, I really like. I have seen people play it in smaller scales, and I have also sort of read about people playing it in 20mm. So again, I've got a lot of 20mm. That also could be something I might look at in the future. So without further ado, guys, let's get the camera spun round and let's actually take a look at the vehicles that we've got on display here for you today. So here we have then in front of you a closer look, and then at the Panzer IVs in front of you and the Panzer IIIs behind. The HQ for the Panzer IVs is a single tank there in the front centre, and to the left obviously is the 1st platoon of the long barrel Panzer IVs, and to the right is the 2nd platoon of the short barrel Panzer IVs. The Panzer Kampfwagen 4 Aus F2 saw the biggest change in design of the Panzer IV, with the installation of the long-barreled 7.5cm L43 main gun. This transformed the Panzer IV from a medium support tank into the best tank at that time in the German service. On the 18th of November 1941, the German Ordnance Department issued an order to develop a long-barreled 7.5cm gun. By March 1942, the gun was ready to be installed in the new tanks, and the last 175 Panzer IV Aus Fs were to be built with this new gun. Most of the new Panzers were issued to the existing units to replace the combat losses, although some were used to equip with new units. The Aus F2 served in North Africa, where it was known as the Panzer IV Special. It also served along the Eastern Front. By March 1942, as the first machines were completed, the F2 designation was adopted, with the older short gun tank becoming the F1. Between March and July 1942, some 175 F2s were produced, plus 24 which was converted from the old F1. And behind them is the two tanks. There is the HQ for the Panzer IIIs, and both left and right is two Panzer III Aus Js with a long-barrelled 50mm platoons. The Panzer Kampfwagen 3 Aus J was produced after Hitler insisted on the use of a longer gun in the Panzer III. Despite having been issued with this order after the fall of France, the initial production run of the Aus J still used a 5cm L42 gun, which was introduced on earlier models of the Panzer III. Hitler is said to have seen these short-barrel Panzer IIIs during a parade and insisted on the use of the longer gun. The updated version of the Panzer III Aus J was redesignated as the Aus J1, with the 5cm L42 main gun being replaced with the 5cm L60 gun. Other than the change of the gun, the two versions of the Aus J were identical. Being between December 1941 and July 1942, some 1,067 tanks were produced, with several of the older Aus J machines being converted to carry the new gun. The Aus J performed well against British and American tanks in North Africa, but was less successful against the Soviet T-34s and KV-1s on the Eastern Front. Even the long-barrel 5cm gun was becoming ineffective against the thicker enemy armour, but despite efforts to mount the 7.5cm gun on the Panzer III, two more versions, the Aus L and the Aus M, would still be produced with the long 5cm L60 gun. So let's take a little closer look then at the vehicles themselves, so we can get a sort of an idea. Excuse my hands. Let's bring both hands in a second. So let's try and get that out of the way. So here we have then, this was following the YouTube channel, which I said I'll leave in the link in the description below, and you guys can get a really good look at the the video and that, so how we compare these to the 15mm. They do all need matte varnishing down. These I've just had a gloss varnish, obviously, to put the transfers and everything over them, and also it helps to get the shades flowing that into the right places and that. But as I say, just give you a little look at some of these tanks. Sort of spin it around. Excuse me, out there. Don't know if that's coming out very well on the camera. I hope it is. And spinning back round that way. Pop in back there. Pick up one of the short barreled. Like I said, they'll all get matte varnished once we've painted up the crew, the commanders. You notice in that the cupolas and that are open, and that I'm going to put the platoon commander and that in on the tanks. On there. So let's pick up one of the Panzer IIIs. I do like the Panzer III. I've always liked it, and the Panzer IV. I mean, I know a lot of people that talk about and that they like the late war, the big cats and that, the Panthers and the Tigers and etc., and the elephants and the you know, the Ferdinands and etc. But I don't know. I like Panzer IIs, IIIs and IVs. I'm really am slowly coming round to sort of more the early war, early mid-war of gaming. Let's just pick one of those over there, just to give you guys another quick look. Oops. Around, sort of see the top. That in there. Oops, only found me on there. And there we are, that's that. So that's the closer look at the tanks. So in front of you now then you can see the support vehicles which we'll be using for O Group. At the back and that, and in the centre and that, they will be for the infantry companies. And on to your right there, I've got some 88s which I've not made up yet, but that's the 88 towing vehicles. And to your left there, you've got some light guns and that to tow some 50mm anti-tank guns. And in the centre there, you've got your battalion sort of commands. So, but this set, along with some of the Panzer IIIs you've seen earlier, was from the Battlefront's very first, I think it was the first edition, Flames of War Afrika Korps set, the army set that they'd done. I kept all of the vehicles. I painted them up, as you'll see on the screen now. I painted them up and I then used the army painter dip and then just did a bit of a highlight. I was just never ever happy with the dip. I never have been really. And I suppose at the time it was great. It got your armies on the table really quickly. But I was never happy with the sheen. I could never get rid of that shine off of it. Whatever I'd done, mats of sprays or hand painted varnishes, you know, matte varnishes, I could never get rid of the sheen. So whilst we were like getting the vehicles out, the tanks out to rejuvenate the project, I sort of said to Mel, I said, you know, why don't we go back and redo our 8th Army and Afrika Korps vehicles? And that's what we're doing. So as you can see, the bases haven't been done yet. And in front of you now, you can see that they've had their first base coats put on them. They've got the washers and everything else put on top of them and then weathered down. The bases haven't been done. That's as they were with the army painted dip. I mean, it's okay on there, I suppose. It doesn't look too bad, but I'm probably going to redo them once I get all the infantry. So the vehicles will be done, but the basing will all be done at the same time to keep that sort of continuity. So that's the support vehicles. Oh, you might notice some little tabs and that on a couple of the trucks at the back. Well, that's obviously, I wasn't sure on how YouTube or Facebook sort of takes to these sort of things, but you obviously know what's underneath there as an air recognition panel. I just thought I'd cover it up instead of blurring it out and trying to find it on the video to blur it. But yeah, there you go. That's what that is underneath there. A couple of British 1500 weights. That's the support vehicles, guys. Well, what do you think of that then, guys? I hope you've enjoyed looking at these vehicles. We are really excited about getting these on the table and get some action and that with them. We're currently, as I said before, we're currently in the middle of getting the British vehicles made up. We're still waiting on Battlefront to sort of re-release their British infantry for North Africa and obviously the Afrika Korps infantry. There's still a lot we're still waiting for, obviously, with their re-release of their mid-war range. So that's it for the moment, guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and to all our existing subscribers and new subscribers that's jumped on board recently, a huge thank you from both myself, Mel and Jamie. We've really enjoyed doing the Pile of Shame sort of broadcast, and we hope you guys have enjoyed sort of coming along, listening to some of our views and sort of us chatting about, really just messing about, really, just having a bit of fun. Huge thank you to Simon Miller, who jumped in on the Pile of Shame one recently with myself, Mel and Jamie and all the other guys. And if you haven't seen that, again, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. We are also, at the time of making this video, we're also getting back into doing some more history talks. Now, we haven't done some for a couple of months, obviously, because we've all been very busy in that, doing other bits and pieces. So we're looking forward to getting back in to do some more history talks. So keep an eye on the channel to see what else we were going to do with that. And also, if you haven't seen the other two, jump on board and have a look at the history talks that we've done for the Napoleonic period. So until next time, guys, we hope all your projects are going well. And some of the videos that we've seen out there recently, and certainly in the last couple of weeks, and that have been fantastic. And until next time, guys, please stay safe and happy wargaming.